So today is the 6th of Feb 2024. So just another quick sort of update. So today's been more of the chill days over the past couple of weeks, to be honest. Still very productive, but I guess it was nice to sort of have a more eased off one. So today I just started off with writing some content out for one of my clients, ready for our call Thursday. So tomorrow morning I've got a call with my mentor. He's going to check all the ads I've written. He's going to sort of tidy them up. And then Thursday and also tomorrow morning I've got calls with the clients to run through the advert and then talk about what I need them to record. And then from there I'm going to edit their content and I'm going to go live with everything and sort of start optimizing their page. So, tired. Yeah, it's been a decent day, and then the second half of my day I've just been editing my content. So obviously, like I said, I spent literally all of yesterday filming reels for myself, ready for when I need to start uploading. And to be honest, I'm going to start uploading them soon anyway. But what it has meant is that I've had to spend the whole since 1 o'clock I've been editing. It's now 6 o'clock. And it takes so much out of you. Like, I didn't realise it's going to take that fucking long. Like, so I've done 7 videos, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's not too bad. Oh no, I've got 6 more reels left to edit. I've done 7. It took me literally 5 hours. Because obviously, the way I'm filming it and editing them, I'm leaving all my mistakes in there. So I don't have to keep turning it on and off and going through or do it in one take. So I'm having to first of all watch the video, go through, chop out all the rubbish, then tidy it up, then align all the frames so they look like it's one continuous thing, then add subtitles, then make sure the subtitles are correct. And it's just taking longer than I thought it would, to be honest. Which, again, like, okay, it's part of it, but the other thing I thought is that it's actually good because when I start charging, I can show that that's what they're going to be getting, and I can I was thinking of my value stack that I learned from Russell Brunson about how I can position it, and obviously if I've got that many things, that's another thing you can add to the stack to increase your price. So over the 3-month package that I do, I can say that, like, well, 3 months to hire a video editor costs it this much, but we've included it in your package for this much. For example, I don't know how much a good video editor is. I'm guessing a few hundred a month, but say that's like $1,000 over the 3 months. I can say it's in there for, we're adding that in for like 20% of the cost. So that's another thing I can add on. So yeah, it's good. I'm in a good place. I'm excited. I keep working, and I think the more I get into this, I can see why it takes years and years to build something like this, especially for someone like me who obviously didn't have that prior experience, sort of having to build those building blocks step by step to get there. But like I said, we're getting there slowly. I'll have my page ready, do my content. Once my content is done, then I can, and once my clients' ads and trials are done, then I can start pushing my ads and pushing my other outreach and trying to grow that way. And yeah, it's cool, it's good. I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time on Instagram because I'm going to be doing DM outreach on Instagram when I start trying to charge, and I'm going to do obviously the adverts. So there's going to be a lot of time on Instagram. Obviously the good thing is, obviously the good thing is that with these trials, right, let's say worst case, I don't think this will happen, I've got a good feeling about it, but say worst case it doesn't work out with the trials for the clients. I've got a formula, perfect script written out ready to send another batch of emails to a bunch of prospects who are already listed out. So if I need more trials, I need to try again, we can go again. So we'll get there. It's just going to take some time. So yeah, I don't think I'm miles off, like in terms of the whole system. I know it's still going to be a couple more months or a year, maybe even, I don't know. It could just be a few more months before I start earning a bit of cash here and there, and then obviously the next problem is going to be to sort of systemize it and make it consistent, so then you can scale and actually turn it into something that you can rely on to live off of. So maybe that's how, because obviously I'm going to leave my 9 to 5 in about 18 months. 18, maybe a bit more than that. Yeah. So probably October 2025, so we're in Feb 2025. So yeah, maybe like 20, I don't know, 20 odd months maybe then. But what I've realised is that over the next few weeks, I'm prepared that my work is going to give me a lot more work, which again, I can't complain. They're letting me, well, they're not letting me, but the way they've set this whole thing up has meant I can do this and I can do uni, I can do the 9 to 5 and I can balance it all. But I always said to my mum had the same sort of feeling that everything's going to cross over. So when it starts taking off, the work for the 9 to 5 is going to start ramping up. And obviously, until this is consistent and scalable and like systemized, there's no point leaving. There's no point. It doesn't make sense for now, anyway. So I think that crossover might be sooner than I wanted, and then I think what will happen is that when I get to a point where I can leave, I'll have some cash build up. I'll have clients, and by the time I get to leave, hopefully I've found a way to systemize it and maybe hire someone. You never know. But yeah, it doesn't feel a million miles away whereas before it did, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting these trial clients done, getting their testimonials, getting them some good results. Then we can start pushing everything else on my end, my ads, my content, and my outreach to get paying clients. Then we can go from there. So obviously we still haven't started running ads. So I'm hoping, I don't know, mid-March, the ads will be pretty much done. Get my video testimonials and maybe some of them will stay on if they're happy. Get a bit of money in, get some, like I said, testimonials, start running my ads and start trying to build this thing up. So yeah, it's good. We're in a good place, getting there step by step, focusing on what we need to do next and sort of stop rushing ahead as much now. I feel a lot mentally better, but yeah, it's good overall. I don't know how I've yapped on about this for 8 minutes, but there you are. And then I don't know. I guess the other thing I sort of wanted to mention was that I see people with like these bad habits, and they always say they can't get rid of them. For example, vaping, fucking masturbating all the time, scrolling on their phones all day. And you know what? Like I said, I'm going to be honest. I was at a point at one time where I was doing those things as well. I used to spend all day on my phone. I used to spend way too much playing with myself. But what I found is that since I've sort of found a purpose and something to work towards and a goal, I don't actually have time for that stuff anymore. And so when people tell me they're stuck doing those things and they can't get out of it, I always think to myself that clearly they just haven't got a purpose or they're not working hard enough. Because I feel like, well, from what I've seen, if you're truly working that hard, you just don't have time. I just literally don't have the time in the day to do that. Don't get me wrong, every now and then on the weekend, I'll sit on my phone a bit and just take my mind off it. Or if I've really pushed myself during the week and I'm feeling lazy, sometimes I won't lie, I do give into it every now and then. I'm not perfect, I'm not a super robot, but what I would say is that once you have a goal and you're working towards something, you will find that these things that you don't want to be doing, you won't have time to do. The reason you're doing have these bad habits is because you're bored, you're lazy, and you have too much time on your hands. find something to do. Find something. It doesn't have to be as extreme as what I'm trying to do in terms of building my own business and going down that route. It could just be a hobby, or it could be, I don't know, trying to compete in a sport, something like that. I just think people are too okay with being mediocre and average, and then they just pick up bad habits on the back end of that because the averageness just makes them bored and lazy. But yeah, anyway, and then I guess the only other thing, I've started this book which I'm a couple chapters in and I'm fucking loving. Psycho-Cybernetics. I love the smell of books, by the way, as well. But yeah, it's just a really fucking good book, and obviously I'm not really that far into it. I'm about 40-50 pages in, but it's talking about obviously your brain and your self-image, of like how you perceive yourself and how that affects what you do in life. And it's interesting, I'm sort of linking it to people around me who just see themselves as out of shape and lazy, and that's what they are. And I was thinking back to linking it to myself, because I see myself as being successful and being someone of importance and power, and I know that's what's going to happen. But it's really interesting where it's like the things you think when they're sort of put into a book and conceptualized so you can better understand them. I think it is really interesting. So, and it's good for your mindset because it teaches you how to sort of change the way you think about yourself and what you can do to take steps to do it. But yeah, it is really interesting. And look, the more I get into this like business stuff, right, I've realised from talking to clients, my mentor, my own experiences, my own sort of research, I've realised that this whole business stuff, I'm not even joking, I'd say about 80% of it is up here. Like literally, it's all in your head. I feel like the theory of it and being good at it isn't as hard as you might think it will be. Don't get me wrong, it takes time and it takes a lot of effort, but the actual sort of heavy labour of having to sort yourself out mentally and be mentally strong and be resilient and be confident and be all the other things you need to be, I feel like this is what makes this whole journey so much harder. And once you get that, I feel like that's when everything else starts to fall into place. And that's what I found with myself anyway. The more my head comes together and I'm calmer and I'm more grounded and I'm more in control of my thoughts and things like that, and I think in a more positive, more abundant way, these are when things are going my way. Whereas at the start, when my mindset was in the wrong place and I was focusing on just the money, or I was focusing on the future, this is when you sabotage yourself. And I've realised that as well from speaking to my clients. My clients are 40-year-old adults with children, and I'm more emotionally controlled than them. And they're not doing great with their businesses, and you can see why. You can see the difference. The guys that you speak to who are doing well mentally, they're in such a more stable and better place compared to the people who are struggling. A lot of it is just up here. For example, some of the coaches I'm talking to at the moment, I was helping them with their sales, and they were telling me about like they lack confidence in this, or they don't know how to charge their price. But what it was just their mental framework was affecting their sales. And it's so interesting that people don't understand that what goes on in your head is literally affecting your outside world. And that is, well, the way my mentor put it, which when he started sort of got me thinking about this, was that your internal state equals your external reality. So if inside your head's a mess, your business is going to be a mess. And it portrays the same way. And if I think of my business, it's growing, it's learning, and that's the same way, that's what's going on in my mind. So it sort of relate, like you said, internal state, external reality. But yeah, that's what this book is showing, and I would definitely recommend it. I mean, like I said, I'm about 40-50 pages in, and you can already tell it's going to be a fucking good one. So yeah, it's just interesting. And then linking what this book made me realise as well was that around what, May, June time last year, I had a self-image of myself that I wasn't good at sales. And what was happening was every sales call, I was self-sabotaging myself, and I didn't go in the call with confidence. I went in the call expecting for it to go wrong or for me to fuck it up because I didn't see myself as a good salesman. And that links to so many areas of life. Like, for example, look at your friends who are overweight, for example. They see themselves as overweight. Their self-perception of them is that they are an overweight person and that that's the life they've been given and that's it. If they changed how they thought and they started to believe and build confidence in themselves, what this book was saying is it's thinking it isn't enough. You need to prove to yourself you can change. So for someone that's overweight, for example, starting to do some exercise or starting to eat a bit better will prove to them that maybe they're not destined to be a fat person. Then that will help them change their self-belief in themselves, and in turn that'll have a knock-on effect, and the confidence will stack and the perception will start to shift, and then they can change how they are. And again, your internal state is external reality. A lot what I've realized over this journey is so many people really just sabotage themselves, and their downfall is down to their head. What's in their head and how they manage it, that's it. But yeah, it's interesting, just some food for thought, and I'm just trying to spill out what I've learned to you guys and whoever's watching. But yeah, now before I yap on any longer, I just wanted to say how crazy it is. Like, I've not even been doing this channel, well, it's coming up to a month now. I've got nearly 30 videos up, and I think this is cool. It's not a lot, but I think it's cool. So I don't know if you can see that. 14 subscribers, 718 views, 6.8 hours of watch time, which is mad. It's picking up, like, it's getting there. I've got 2 videos over 100 views. Yeah, it's like we're getting there. I can see it's going to take off eventually. If I'm doing this in a month already, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's not a lot, but I'm picking up traction. People are watching. I've just got to stay consistent. So that's where I am. So yeah, that's my update for today. I'll stop yapping now, but hopefully that's helped you in some way.